Everyone, so I mentioned in my last video that we have a new car and this is it. So it's not a new car as such, it's 26 years old actually, so it's quite an old car, but it's quite strong and it does what I need it to do, because we do a lot of off-roading and the Nissan gets into trouble all too often, and sometimes we just can't even go where we want to go. Literally a few days after I got that, then the government brought 2 children to me who live in an area called Uru, and Uru is inaccessible unless you have a 4-wheel drive, so the timing was kind of spot on sort of thing. Otherwise we wouldn't have been able to go there, or we'd have had to get motorbikes again, which is often what we have to do. So, but something else regarding having this car, which it's helped us with, is I can transport the children in the wheelchairs, which is why I got a one with a stretch back on it. I spent some time looking, like nearly 2 weeks, trying to find one. It's a headache in Tanzania because every time a white man comes, the price triples. So we can transport the children with the wheelchairs, we can go off-road to access places, we can do deliveries without the motorbike in areas which are severe off-roading as well, out in the bush. And I can also use it as an ambulance. Now, if you don't read my blog, you won't know this, but back in July, there was a car crash on the road outside here, and a pickup truck, it flipped over full of people coming back from a funeral. And I was first on the scene with Ali, and there were around about, I think it was about 15 or 20 people, I think about between 15 and 20 or 20 people in the back of this pickup, plus the driver and his passenger. And it flipped over on a road which is predominantly rocks, so everyone was seriously injured. And I had people die in my arms, and I picked up people who were already dead when I got there. And there were people dying everywhere. There was 5 people died in total by the end of that. And here's the sad thing about it all, was my little car, I couldn't use it as an ambulance, and there are no ambulances here, so those people, the only chance those people had was for someone to act as an ambulance. And the locals called everyone they knew with a 4-wheel drive in the area, descended upon where the crash was and started taking people to hospital. But had I had this car, I could have took people to hospital almost immediately when the crash happened, because it wasn't far from here. And if I'd had this car, well, I couldn't give the correct medical attention to those 5 people that died. As I say, some of them were already dead when I got on the scene, but if I'd had a car like this, I probably could have saved a couple of other lives as well, I think. So, and as many of you know, I'm called as the village ambulance constantly in that little white car. And when you're trying to lift old people into the back seat of a 3-door Micra and then drive them comfortably to hospital on bumpy roads, it's just crazy. So, and the other thing I can use it for is for these guys, because we have a lot of dogs and sometimes they need transporting. But the plan is for the Micra is to take the back seats out and turn it into a dog van and a delivery van, because for all it is an automatic Nissan Micra, it's very, very strong. That car, it's blessed for whatever reason, it survived whatever I've put it through, but at present it's not good. Someone commented that they noticed we weren't wearing seat belts. Well, that's because the guys transported the dogs for a castration clinic, and by the time they got back, the dogs had eaten the seatbelt, so there's no front seatbelt in the car. And it's making terrible, terrible noises when you go around corners, so I think it's due some new suspension. But other than that, it's not fulfilling all of our needs, unfortunately. But I shall keep it because I'm a little bit attached to that white car. So. But anyway, Feather's Tail has new transport. Oh, and it was made possible by Gift Aid. It's one of the few times I'll be thankful for one of the UK systems, because the donation we got for the children's home, the bigger donation for the new children's home to start being built, we made a gift aid claim, and 25% of the donation is gifted as a tax rebate from the donor. So that all along in discussions with the donor has been earmarked for a vehicle for transport, and for obviously a few other little improvements on the main building when we build it. So we finally have some transport, and it came purely off the back of someone getting a tax rebate, so I've got to be grateful for that much at least anyway. I think it's one of the few times in life you'll hear me grateful for the government. Okay, much love guys. Bye.